Good morning. This is Michelle. There's a couple of you on. I see Hughes on, Steve Nichols. Could you guys raise your hand and indicate that you can hear me? I'll start testing this before everyone else jumps on. Great, Steve. Thank you. Thanks, Hugh. Okay. We're going to keep you muted, and we will start probably, it usually takes about I usually start about 2 minutes after the start time, just as everyone starts popping in. All righty, so hold tight. We'll be back to you. Thank you. Greetings, everyone. Watching everyone popping in. We're probably going to wait about 2 minutes after 8:30 to start, just to make sure everyone is in. But those of you that popped on, Steve and Hugh already raised their hand. But for those of you that are on the line, could you just raise your hand and let me know you can hear me and you can see the screen okay? Okay, I see Melissa, you raised your hand. And Gwen, can you see me? You just have to hit the little hand there. John, can you hear me? Okay, Hugh, I'm coming back to you. Hugh and Steve, you guys originally raised your hand, so I know you can do it. Could you please, good, okay, so you are hearing me. Some of the others are not. Whitney, can you hear me? Okay, now I'm going to try something else as we're waiting for others to pop in. I'm going to unmute you when I ask, call your name and just respond to me. Whitney, can you hear me?
Yes, I can, Michelle.
Great, thank you very much. Okay. I'm going to assume everyone else can. Just going to wait another minute or so, and then we'll get started. Okay, we're going to go ahead and get started. I think there's some others that will probably be popping in, but welcome everyone. We're glad that you're on our webinar this morning on this nice sunny morning, sunny morning. I'm making a joke there, on this nice snowy morning. But this is why webinars work so well, because we don't have to worry about weather and we don't have to worry about people traveling to a seminar. So I want to give you a little bit of the ground rules for webinars. Some of you have been on my webinars in the past, some of you are new, but these are very interactive. I'm not just going to talk at you the whole time. So I want to kind of make sure there's going to be polls, and when the poll screen pops up, you simply need to click on whatever your vote is, and then I'll start seeing the tabulations, and I can let you know exactly at the end then what the tabulations look like. I also will be unmuting you and asking questions so that we will be getting discussions going. I'll only unmute one of you at a time so that we can actually have a discussion. But I'm also, since this is about vision and mission, I'm hoping that some of you, if you do have a vision and mission, have it handy, because I'll be calling on some of you to share your vision and missions. And then other times I'll just be going through the slides. At the end, you will get a survey to take immediately, and you'll also get an email that follows that where you can click on downloads that will take you to the website. And we have 2 different worksheets for you today on questions and that can help you develop your vision, mission, and values. And we are going to spend some time on values. And there's also some value words. There's some word listings that will be helpful, and some actual examples. So there's some really good downloads that you'll get at the end of the presentation. So with that, let's get started. And okay, we are. Okay, so our goal is to challenge you. This has kind of become a standard of my first slides for all of my webinars, but we really don't want to just sit here and throw information at you. We do want to challenge the way you think a little bit. We want to share everyone else's perspective. Hopefully we're going to add some value for you. I definitely want to make sure that at the end of this, all of you can move forward and actually take some action if you want. And hopefully you're going to have a little fun as we go through this. So here is our first poll. You should see the poll screen pop up, and if you could just click on the poll is open. So all you have to do is click your choice. Okay, I see things changing and popping around here, so. Okay, I think we can close the poll. And here's our breakout here. We have, I think you should be able to see the results with 63% business owners, 13% executives, and 25% other. And I could tell from our sheet, so that's a really good split. This really helps me, obviously, position some of my comments as we go through this. In terms of the vision and the mission, and I'm going to focus a lot of this on the business owner, but all of the others in the executive team will be able to jump in, because a lot of times you're the ones that also help create the mission and the vision and the poll. So this is very, very good. And we're going to follow this right up with another poll. We have a bunch of polls right at the beginning so that I get a really good feel and you get a feel for who we have on the phone. Okay, so first of all, I did want to go through some dynamic mission and vision and value and learning objectives. And so this will help you understand what we're really going to focus on, why are vision and values and mission so important. We're going to talk about the roles. We're going to provide you with some tips. We're going to give you some downloads, and we're going to give you a very fast-paced learning and coaching experience. So I want to thank you for letting me be your coach this morning, and we're going to jump right into this next poll. Okay, so let's get started. How many of you in your business have a written vision, mission, and value statement? All 3. You have to say you have all 3 of those in place. Okay, so I'm looking to see. Okay, I think we closed the poll. Okay, and I have 43% of you have all three. Wow, that's fabulous. I did not expect that. Congratulations, that's great. So I'm going to be calling on you so that you can share this. And then we have 57% that said no. So get ready for the next poll, because the next poll is going to be a takeoff of this one. We're going to open that. And this says, so how many of you have at least one, either a vision, a mission, or a value? Okay, so the poll's in progress. Okay, so now a couple of you are still voting in there. Okay, so again, we have 63% of you said yes, you have at least one. 38% of you said you don't even have any. So good. You 38%, I'm hoping when you leave here, you'll be ready to start at least one or two of these. And the 63% of you that have one, hopefully you can add to that. So great. This gives me a really, really good idea as we go through this. We should be able to have some really good conversations about vision and mission, and we'll take it from there. Okay, so my next poll, and this is the final one for the beginning, we have a couple at the end. Which of the three do you think are most common for small businesses? All of you on the phone are generally with pretty small businesses. Check the one that you think is most common for a business to have. Okay, we're ready to close the poll. Okay, we have 75% of you said you think that the mission is the most common, and 25% of you said that values are the most common. And I will tell you that mission is the right answer there. When you study a lot of the strategic planning processes that most companies have, most companies will lead with their mission. Many do not have a vision at all, and many have not clarified. They may in their head kind of know what values they have, but they really don't have written values. So we want to talk a little bit about why are vision, mission, and values so important. And this is where I just feel for a small business, having your vision, mission, and values right out there for everyone to see can carry an impact at a level that is actually it delivers much more of a communication tool for you than sometimes a big business. And it's because it can be the whole passion and soul of your business. Small businesses, you interact with your customers oftentimes at a different level than big businesses. Many times the owner and certainly the executives within that business are in constant contact with both the marketplace, the community, and the customer. It's just the nature of small business. So I just feel that you having a vision and mission and value statements are going to connect you. It also determines really the direction and focus of the business, and it should be the guiding light of your plans and that type of thing. I do a lot of planning sessions. I consider vision, mission, and values very strategic, and is also it's a separate session. So those of you, and many of you on the phone have attended my 90 days. I generally don't bring in the vision, mission, and values to the 90-day planning, because in my mind, this is a full day to pull together on its own. And it's very, very strategic. And so I wanted to stress that I feel this is a strategic planning process rather than just a planning process. But in reality, it should guide that planning process. It also aligns you with your customer, your employees, your vendors, really any stakeholder in the company can align around this. And it helps you shape that communication, as I said. It also helps and creates and supports the culture. It welcomes and actually drives change, and it facilitates evaluation and improvement. So there's a whole lot of things that, if used correctly, the vision, mission, and values can be helpful for you. But I'm bringing in another one that I didn't put up here, And it's funny because it really just happened yesterday. And I was talking with one of my clients, and they said that they had, and this is a typical millennial, and I know there's a couple of you on the phone that are millennials. And one of the questions they were interviewing, and they wanted to know what their vision and mission was, and they didn't have it. And it's interesting for the new millennials and the and their view on the world is that they want to be able to connect with their job. They want to be able to connect with the community. And it's very important to them when they start viewing different places to work, that particular employer is going to offer them the opportunity to do that. So I'm adding another one here after yesterday, and that is that it can help you hire in terms of positioning, especially with all of the new hirees that are out there looking for positions. And you're in a unique role as a small business to really make that happen. So I just needed to add that. I needed to add a little ball out there on the other end. The other thing that I think this really does, and I have this, is your growth. It's your foundation. The vision, mission, and values should be foundational elements of your business, and it should guide your growth. But most importantly, every single person on this call is in some type of leadership role. It actually provides you some key opportunities in terms of leading and communicating and connecting, which is really what leadership is all about. So in my mind, again, it's the foundational elements to help you lead and grow this business. As I said in the other line, it really helps you connect with your customers, your employees, and vendors, even your vendors. So very, very important. Okay, and this, I had to throw this in. I found this the other week, and I thought this was a riot because I used to work for GE, and one of the things that GE had a great, bring good things to life. They had a great vision, but I always felt a lot of times big companies just put together a bunch of buzzwords, and I just thought this was great. I love Dilbert, and I thought this was perfect to express that. Do not sit down and put your vision and mission together by just stringing together a bunch of, I call it buzzword bingo, and don't use it as corporate wallpaper. Let's take some real time for this to connect with you. We've got 75% of you are the actual business owner on here. So, this really needs to be you and your heart and your passion. All of us that are business owners know how important that is to us, and there's no one that can connect to the business better than us. So when you start developing this vision and mission, make sure that you have that connection and not just buzzword bingo. I am going to give you some pages of values. In fact, you can have 2 different downloads around value words, but it's only so that you can start narrowing down and really help you determine what your values are. And one is almost a 5-page booklet on just words and values, and you start narrowing it down so that you can really connect with the values. So mission, vision, and values, here we are. Mission, it tells us the purpose of the business and how you will get to where you want to be. So it's present day. The vision tells us where you want to be in the future. And your values are actually the guiding light of the company. And we're going to be coming up on a discussion topic. And the discussion topic is, which one of these do you think that you should develop first? And I'm going to unmute you and call your name. So Hugh, I'm going to start with you. Out of mission, vision, and values, which do you think you should start with first and why? You're unmuted, Hugh.
Gotcha. I would go with values. I think if that's going to be the guiding light, I think if that's going to be the guiding light, and I agree with that sentiment, that where you are and where you're going, you're going to struggle to occur. You're going to struggle to have any bedrock with how you're doing what you're doing without that.
Okay, perfect. Great. Appreciate that answer. Okay, I'm going to unmute Whitney. I'm trying to find you. What do you think should be first?
I would have to agree. I think that, your values definitely will lead you in the right direction. And if you embody those in your mission and your vision, I don't think you can go wrong. So establishing those and utilizing them as a tool to, shape the mission and vision of the company, I would have to agree 100%.
Okay, great. And so, as I said at the beginning, when we were talking about the mission and the vision and how many of you had it and all of that, a lot of people, as I said, have the mission, and many people don't have values. And I'm going to step in and actually say that I agree with both of you, that I do feel that values really should start. I'm trying to move us forward here. I sometimes get stuck. Okay. Values really should start this whole process. And by the way, I did some research, and there was a research done on small businesses, and it said that 64% of small businesses don't have anything around mission, vision, and values. And that those that did, 29% made that mission available to their employees, and everyone else just made it available to their senior managers. But most of them did not have any values associated with it. On the other end, at the corporate level, 65% of the corporate businesses, and that's usually above 50%. I'm not going with what SBA identifies as a small business. 65% of them actually had a mission and vision, but again, many did not have the values. And I think the values are the core. And I love this little depiction of, it's the core. It's the very core of your business. It's the DNA. They're the beliefs, the characteristics, and the behavior the business owner wants to have. And it's how you want your shareholders, that's customers, vendors, employees, how you want them to feel when you conduct business. So I think that this is where you should start. So when you get your downloads, you're going to have a lot of, as I said, some really cool handouts that are revolving around how to start choosing the words. And this is not anything to do with buzzword bingo. It's really to help you start looking at all of these. I have one list that actually has about 12 different headings, and then words within that heading that actually associate with that characteristic. And then I gave you a really nice little handout, and you might choose to go to that website because it gives you a whole lot of other things around the values. But think about it. This takes time. And if you're the business owner, I think that, it needs to come from you. But I also suggest that you get all of your key, if you're not a sole proprietor, and we do have some solo entrepreneurs on here, really pull together your team and sit there and maybe use these lists to look at the value proposition. And as I said, core values are your DNA. They're the standards of how the business owner wants to run the business. They demonstrate how you treat customers, how you want them to feel, and what they can expect. And those of you that have worked with me know that I say one of the most important things in a customer relationship is managing their expectations. And whenever things don't go the way they need to go, 9 times out of 10, it's because, and I'll say even for myself, it's because I didn't manage an expectation correctly. And so if you don't manage that expectation and are really clear about it, everything can start falling off the path. And it has nothing to do that you did something wrong. It's just that you didn't match those expectations. And so your values, mission, and vision can help you match the expectations. How you treat employees, and what they need to strive for. There's two things going on, I think, with core values for employees. It's how they should feel, but it's also they now have to take those core values, if they're in touch with the customer, and make sure that they're also striving to make sure that that's how they're making the customer feel. They need to come from your heart, and they need to be strong, and they need to be concrete. And by the way, if you're a service business, I think core values can be very different than if you're not. So it really depends on the type of business you're in. And by the way, it doesn't mean you have to have 30 of those out there. What is the number one? You may have one thing, and a lot of the companies that I'm going to put up here, if you go to their website, they connect their core values, their mission and vision, and some of these are bigger companies, very much to what they're promoting in the marketplace, whether it's the environment, and if you go to any of those, it really does come from their heart, and it stands for what they stand for. And Nike and all of those, if you go behind them, all of their community activities are coming back to that initial core value that they have. But ultimately, it needs to make your guiding decisions. It helps you make those decisions. It helps you inform, and it helps you direct. So it is the core of the business DNA. Here are some core value examples. Squarespace is for us, it's a larger company, but they're in New York. They probably have about 700 employees. And look how sweet their mission is, giving voice to ideas. They're a website company. And so it's kind of interesting when you look at their values. I'm going to give you a whole, just to kind of see, of very different ways of putting values out there. Be your own customer, meaning that's what they want to do for you, is they want you to be your own customer, and they're going to build their website around that. And I just thought design is not a luxury. I love that. They're a website designer, and so design is not a luxury. And that's the core of what they do. And I think a lot of people, I talk to a lot of small business, I can't afford a good website. But a good website, as they're saying, you need good design. So anyways, I don't think we need to go through each of these, but and I love at the end, it says simplify. So when you look at this, that if you're going to get a website from them, you already have a pretty good idea that they're focused on giving your voice, or getting your voice into that website. Okay, and here's another one. This actually is an Australian company, and I did try to look at some global type of companies too, and they are a software company. Mainly they're CRMs and ERPs, which is enterprise-wide software, helping teams everywhere in the world, with the power of software. And they open company, no bullshit. Now, again, I love this because I think this is Australia all the way. I look at this and I think this is Australia, filled with heart and balance. So they're talking about software. But if you looked at that and I gave you those values, I don't think right out of the gate you would know that they're a software company. But what they're saying is, this is what our software will do. We're going to open up the company. We're going to make sure that there's no bullshit that goes on out there. We're going to help you build all your touch points with heart and balance. And I think they're saying right there, again, don't bullshit the customer. Now, because they're using those words, some people might be offended by that, but they're already into that expectation piece of how they're communicating to their customer. There's going to be certain customers that are going to love what they see in those values. So the value proposition there, or the values they're putting out, is already helping them to start select the customer that's going to match the way they do business. And I think that is so important. Again, some of you that work with me know one of the first things I say, what are the customers you need to get rid of? And you need to do that very, very quickly, because a lot of times you might have a customer that just is never going to match up with you because they don't have the same value system. And again, hopefully you can make that choice at the beginning. But if you're new in business and all that, you're just taking whatever comes your way. And it's hard to say no to a customer, but your vision, your mission, and your values can really, really help you in terms of helping you select or bring the customer that wants to do business with you to you. And I thought this one was pretty interesting around that. Now, American Transmission Company, I mean, they're not a real sexy looking company, but it's kind of interesting. I think their mission statement is a typical type of mission statement you're going to see. But I kind of like the way they brought in their values. They value employees, customers. This is more of what I think is typical of out there. But they have theirs. They have a mission, they have a value, and they also have a vision statement. And this is how, sorry, this didn't come through real clear, but this is how, all in one page, pretty simple. And I always stress that I think it should be simple. I love their vision. Shareholders choose us. Or stakeholders, stakeholders. So to me, stakeholders are anyone that touches this company. And then they have their mission, it's short and sweet, and then they have their values at the end, but they include an employee behavior and critical success factors. So I just thought this was kind of interesting to see, American Transmission Company, which is a pretty, kind of, I don't know what you would call it, but it's not a sexy business, I guess, so to speak. And I thought it was a pretty neat way of presenting their vision, mission, values. So how do you develop core values? We talked a little bit about that, but I'm going to pop in here and call on a couple of you as to how do you think you would create core values? Steve, I'm going to pop open for you. How do you think we should create core values?
I mean, core values can go hand in hand with the values that you're building things off of, but you need to, I guess, relate those core values to be relative to those who are going to take them on. So they need to be realistic.
Okay.
And also shape your vision at the same time. So, they need to be relative to certain people, but also important so you can build things off of, like a foundation.
Okay, great. I love you use two words, realistic. I think they have to be realistic. I think core values are not necessarily a vision. They shouldn't be unattainable. They should be very attainable. And they should be relative to both you and the people that you're touching. So thanks, Steve. That's great. Melissa, I'm going to unmute you. And how do you think you would create and develop your core values? Pardon?
He's self-muted.
Okay. Melissa, you're self-muted, so if you could unmute yourself.
How's that? Better?
That's it. Good. Thanks, Melissa.
Okay. So for me, I'll answer personally. For me, I think when I'm developing core values, because my business has been in business for some time and I don't have them written down yet, I think that I have a unique situation where I have to think about maybe what was working before, what wasn't working, and what I see the future to be. So for me, when I write my core values, I have a little bit of a history as to look at what, like I just said, what was working, what wasn't, and where do I want to be. So for me, that's how I would write my core values, as someone who's writing them X amount of years already in business versus someone who's starting out. I think they can carve out the core values on onset.
Perfect. Thank you for that. And I think you're right. I think if you've been in business a while, you've gone through and it had experiences that now you can step back and say, oh, wow, let me think about what happened in the past and what happened and what do I don't want to happen or what do I do want to happen. And that can also guide you. So great answer. We're going to get one more here. John Dobbs, I'm going to unmute you and tell us how you would go about developing your core values. Or if you have core values, I should say, how did you develop them?
I've had core values. I can't find a copy of them now. I closed down my company, and I'm looking for something new to get into. But it's all going to be driven by passion and by my experience, why clients worked with us over the years. Unfortunately, so many of my clients are major U.S. corporations that no longer exist. So it's a matter of me. My largest client used to be Bethlehem Steel, and a lot of work with Time Life and people like that. They're just, they're not around. So it's a matter of me adjusting to new values of the millennials, et cetera, that it's a challenge. So I've got to review them. I haven't for a while, but I definitely will after this conversation. Get back to it and formulate them.
Okay, super. And I think there you are, and that could be very different. You obviously have or may have a different client base as you look at these. But as I said, we have some downloadable handouts that I think it made me pause. It made me think, because I just have one kind of core value that I put out there, but it encompasses a lot. And I'm thinking, do I want to add a couple things here? But anyway, I think the handouts that I give you will definitely make you all pause and definitely make you think. So I would, make sure you download those and take a look at them. Okay, so after we okay, so now we want to get into mission and vision. And I want to, before we jump into that, I want to have another little discussion around what's the difference between a mission and a vision. And by the way, many people will say that they don't feel that there is a difference, or they combine them. So I don't know that I'm obviously going to break them apart here for you, but I would just like to hear your initial thoughts about what is the difference between a mission and a vision. And Lynn, I'm going to unmute you. And what do you think is the difference between a mission and a vision? Lynn, are you muted? Oh, there you are.
Yeah, sorry, I didn't. I'm like, is there another one?
Okay.
Well, I guess you were talking about, vision is your future goal for the company, I guess, and mission is your current goal for the company.
Okay.
Where you are now and where you want to be.
Okay. And we kind of talked about that a little bit. Sometimes they get blurred. In fact, I was reading all of these, they were saying vision and mission, and I couldn't tell really is this a mission or is this a vision? And a lot of times, as I said, some people do combine them. So yes, we think of mission more as current. We think of vision as more future. So my next question that I'm going to pose around this is, which one is changeable? Which one is changeable as it relates to the mission and vision? Which do you think would change the most? And Tom, Emrith, I'm going to unmute you. Which do you think is changeable? It looks like you might be self-muted too, Tom. Are you there? You haven't entered your audio pin, it looks like, so I have a feeling you aren't going to be able to communicate with us. So, Amanda, I'm going to unmute you and tell us which one do you think would change?
Probably the vision, depending on where you're at in your business and what you see as the future and what you have to do to stay current in the market.
Okay, great answer. And by the way, I had a lot of this together, but I always do a ton of research when I put these together. And for that particular question, even in the research, one would say, well, your mission is changeable because it's what you're currently doing, and that's going to change. And then others would say your vision is going to be changeable because the vision is your future goal. Hopefully you're going to hit that future goal, and therefore it would change. I personally, my opinion is, depending on what's going on in the marketplace and with the rapid changes happening out there, that you could have both your mission and vision could change. But the vision to me is way out there, and it would be the least changeable because it shouldn't be something that you're just going to hit immediately. But in my mind, I think they can both change. But I think if you do a really good job out of the gate, it's a refinement, it's a tweak, it's not major change. So the difference is, as we go into this, is the vision statements, where you want to be in the future. I kind of said that at the beginning. And the mission statements, how you will get there and where you want to be. So the vision, I like this because it shows you stepping up, stepping up, stepping up. That vision is going to be harder. It's more global. And your mission is hopefully you're running with that mission on a regular basis. It's something you're doing on a daily basis. Okay, so what is the difference? The mission communicates the organization's reason for being and how it aims to serve its key stakeholders. So now go back to your values. You can really pull your values in there. It's what are you? Why are you in business? Is the first thing. And by the way, the questionnaires that I give you, and I'll give you some questions here, will actually ask those questions. Why are you in business? What is your aim? What do you really want to do when you serve your stakeholders? It also, as it says, integrates a summation of the firm or the company's values. And they tend to be longer than the vision statements. Missions do tend to be longer. This is a personal opinion, and that's all. This is not in any way stating, I do still think that the mission and the vision and even your value statements should be as simple as you can make them and still have them communicate everything you want them to communicate. And it's that piece of it that can become very difficult for people. So your vision is obviously future-oriented declaration of where you want the organization to go, what are the aspirations, that type of thing. It should address what you want to become. But again, I bring this back and say in service businesses, sometimes it's not so much about where you want to become, it's where you want your customers to become. So it really depends on the type of business you're in, whether you're, if it's a software or if it's a product or if it's a service, or Whitney, who is service of providing fitness and all of that. There's all types of things that can be built around that. And the vision statement tends to be relatively brief. Again, both of those statements, longer mission, relatively brief vision, that's just a directional comment, and it's directional based on what you would see out there when you go and look at vision and mission statements. My comment is try to spend more time having them reflect what you want them to reflect rather than worry about how long they are. So mission statement is what we're going to focus on next. And the mission statement deals with the present, but it can focus on where you're leading in the future. It should include your company's objectives, which also could serve internal purposes. Now, again, if some of you that are solo entrepreneurs and you don't have a lot of people around you, your focus is going to be outward almost 100%. Whereas if you're a larger organization, you have a fair amount of employees, that mission statement is going to encompass both an outward and inward look. Oftentimes, that's the case. It says the mission statement can change over time, but it should always be connected to the values, the customer needs, and it should drive or connect to the vision. So it's kind of interesting then as to how do we decide. So we do our values first, and then we do the vision, and then we do the mission. Again, I think, I do think values kind of connect to both. So we know we do that first. It does make sense then to step back and kind of get that vision in place and then wrap your mission around it. But a lot of times it's easier to get those key comments around the mission down because you know what the company's objectives are. But I would say when you do your mission, look outward and look inward and then combine the two. So these are the key questions that you should be asking yourself as you develop a mission statement. What do we do today? Why do we do it? For whom do we do it? And what is the benefit? If you can answer those 4 questions, you are well on your way to crafting the key elements of a mission statement. And then I expanded this out a little bit and say, create your own mission worksheet. And you have 2 worksheets from me. One is a 1-pager, just gives you 3 or 4 questions for each of these areas. Another, as I said, is a 5-pager that you can it will ask you all kinds of questions about the industry and the marketplace. You can decide which one you want to use to guide you. And again, I think we all do this differently, but, why do we exist? and what makes us different. And again, those of you that work with me know I keep asking you, what is your unique selling proposition? How are you different than everyone else? And sometimes your values are what makes you different than any other organization out there like you. And Whitney, I'm picking on you again, but those of you that Whitney runs Liven Up Fitness, and there's a ton of gyms out there, but Liven Up Fitness is so focused on making you feel good about what you're doing, and it's not about exercising at all. It's about total fitness. And so, I do think their approach is very different, and it makes them very unique. And Whitney, I'm going to break in here and let you kind of give us your perspective on that and how it relates to other gyms. Okay, I just unmuted you.
So, our mission statement is pretty clear. We want to be the best part of our members' day every day. And, I think we really do lead with that. Our core values, we have 10 solid core values that, guide the foundation of not only our employees, but our members as well, because the fitness journey and health in general can be very difficult to navigate. And it's not just showing up to the gym and getting in a workout. So I think having a strong foundation to guide everyone in your community is very important. And I think keeping your mission statement, we want to be fun. One of our core values is fun and humor. And, that's one of those things where a lot of the times businesses go a little too corporate and they don't relate to the customer or even the employees in the company. So I think being relatable and really having it, make sense for the entire community as a whole is very important.
Okay, great. And I know that Whitney has a really good set of the mission and the value system. So, and I feel it when I walk in there. Her gym is different. It just is. So thanks, Whitney. Okay, and then for whom do we do it? What do we do now? And again, you can see over here, it should be clear and simple, avoid elaborate language. What is the benefit? It should be very easy what the benefit is to explain to others. Which goals do we have? They should not be confused with the vision statement. A vision statement is a lofty, goal way out in the future. If you want to include the goal or the mission statement or within the mission statement, it should be something that is achievable and people can relate to. And how will we get to where we want to be? And that should be recognizably yours. And how you're going to do it should be recognizably yours. This is the most difficult piece, I think, about any of these items, is making them be yours, making them actually connect with your business. And this is still why I come back and say, I feel a small business can do this, if done correctly, so much better than some of the big businesses that are so global and have such a wide audience and so many different customers that they have to almost have these just very general kind of statements. You don't need that as a small business. You can zero in exactly where you want to be and really have your passion kind of be out there for everyone to see. And I think that's, really, really important. Okay. Sorry, I'm stuck here on this screen for some reason. Okay. And then I actually kind of even expanded this even more of other possible components. And again, it depends on the type of business. If you're a technology organization, then, I always say you have to be congruent. If you're a technology organization, then you have to have very current technology and all that. Be very careful about that. It's kind of like the peddler's children have no shoes. It's like we always forget that. And I say, no, if you're going to be in a technology business, then you better be using the best technology. If you're going to be a website developer, then you should have an outstanding website. And people many times forget that. So again, this is just all of the possible areas. Customers, what are the products and services? Markets. My sheet that you're going to get at the end, that 5-pager, will take you into all of these areas. Concern for public image. I think we all need to be concerned about public image, but for some types of businesses, that's even more important, and that might be something that you have to pull into your mission statement. So this is kind of giving you other areas to think about. Some of these may not be as important to your business, but again, it gives you that whole view of what are possible components that are most important to you to think about. And again, when you pull down the handouts that I keep talking about, I think one kind of takes you into all of this. One just gives you a high-level overview. You can decide which is most helpful. Okay, so Whitney already gave us our mission statements. I'm going to ask you to raise your hand. I don't want to, if you have a mission statement you would like to share, I don't want to unmute anyone. Do you have a mission statement you would like to share, anyone? Raise your hand if you do. I don't see any hands going up. Okay, so I'm not going to call on you, but I have a lot of potential mission statements that we're following up with, and I'm going to give you some examples up here. Okay, so here's just a whole bunch that I pulled. Most of these are bigger companies. I went out to try to find some small businesses. I was hoping some of you could share. I'm going to start pulling together everyone's mission statements that I work with, and maybe try to get these up here. But life is good. To spread the power of optimism. So now in this particular case, I am going to mute you. What do you think the business of life is good? What type of business do you think this is? I'm just going to ask you to take a crack at guessing this. Steve, what do you think life is good? What type of business do you think they're in?
Health insurance, or some type of insurance, life insurance.
Some type of insurance. Okay. Lynn, what type of business do you think life is good? Want to take a chance? You're off screen. Okay, Melissa, it looks like you're up. I'm going to ask you what type of business. Just take a guess.
I think it's an apparel company.
It's a what?
Apparel.
All right. How did you know that? Very good. They're a T-shirt company.
That's what I do. I sell promotional advertising. So I know them. I cheated.
Right. I love it. They are a T-shirt company, and to spread the power of optimism, they do that on all the slogans. They have some very, very optimistic slogans on their T-shirts. But then if you go into their business, they connect all of their community, and everything that they're doing as it relates is completely built around to spread the power of optimism. So they, as a company, have taken this on as kind of their value system and everything else. So behind all that, it's even what they do in the community. Now, I gave you IKEA. This is their mission statement. When we do vision statements, I'm going to also give you their vision statement. And then these are just to offer designer eyewear at a revolutionary price while leading the way for socially conscious businesses. And then if you go into Warby Parker and their website, they have a whole bunch of socially conscious things that they're also doing that they combine into it. I love JetBlue to inspire humanity both in the air and on the ground. I think everyone is aware of Nordstrom's. They have never veered away from this to give customers the most compelling shopping experience possible. And of course, TED, spread ideas. I think that I love that mission statement. And if any of you watch TED Talks, I mean, that's what they do. They spread ideas. And then, so it's kind of interesting.
Who sent their values?
Oh, Concannon Miller sent their values. So who's from Concannon Miller? Lynn, I'm going to let you talk about that a little bit. Apparently you sent them. We can't put them on the screen, can we? All right, I'm talking to my administrator. Can Cannon Miller send their I don't think we can do it, but they sent them through, so we appreciate this. Lynn, I'm going to unmute you, but I see you. Okay, you did. Okay, are you there, Lynn?
Yeah, we used to have our mission statement on our old website, but we don't currently on our current one, but we do have our values there, which are, let me go through them: trustworthiness, respect, responsibility, caring, fairness, citizenship, and professionalism. And we use these both, obviously, to advertise to customers, but we also use them internally. We used to be more active, a sort of thank you program for our coworkers to recognize when they're demonstrating our values. Actually, we still have it at like a formal program called Gave More. If you go sort of above and beyond your duties, you can recognize your coworkers for, demonstrating these values above and beyond. And then we have these thank you cards. The thank you cards used to be more active, where you can thank your coworker for demonstrating one of our values. And yeah, we used to have the mission statement on the website. We didn't make it on our current website, which we redid about 2 years ago. Oh gosh, maybe 3 years ago at this point. So,
super.
So.
But listen to what she said. I think one of the most important things, and that's what I've kind of been stressing throughout, thank you, Lynn, is that then they back it up with actual actions that connect to those. So there's the thank you opportunities, or there's, you can recognize something with respect to the employees. So that is kind of another important thing around this mission statement. And all of the mission statements I have up here, if you go into their website, they have other things, either community focused, that actually demonstrate and connect to these mission statements. So kind of interesting as it relates to that. But thank you so much, Lynn, for sharing that. So our next focus is going to be on the vision. And again, I think we've been talking about this. If you notice, I put strategic in front of this. Out of everything we're talking about, I think strategic really applies to the vision. And I have what I'm giving you now is my opinion, and you will find other people that will disagree with this. I am not one to feel like you have to have a 10-year vision. I feel because of the technology and the changes and the rapid changes in the marketplace, that the need for this 10-year vision is almost useless anymore. I have clients in business that their whole business model has to change because of something that happens in the marketplace. John, you were relating to how many of your businesses are out of business. So I think a strategic vision now needs to be guided by all of those changes happening in the marketplace, what's going on, and where you could possibly be going. And again, I pick on the printing industry. I used to have a printer. That whole business, the whole business model in many cases has changed. So it is very strategic, and I think the vision, because it is a little bit longer term, has to be way more connected to understanding the marketplace, the industry, what's happening in the industry, and where it might be going. So I'm kind of framing that with my comments. It's top management's view about the firm's direction and future product. And generally this is driven by the executive team or the owner or that small core at the top. As it says, it's a panoramic view of where we want to go. It should be distinctive and particular to you and your industry and then your organization. And it definitely states how the company's leaders intend to position the firm beyond where it is today. And so again, the vision statement defines the future. It gives details on the future goals and where you wish to be. It explains why you choose to work for that vision. Sorry about that. We thought we had the phone on mute, and sorry, apologize. Where do you want to be going forward? When do you want to reach that stage? And how do we want to do it? I'm not sure you have to have all of that in the vision statement, but again, I think you need to step back and really understand. And Whitney gave us a little perspective on what's happening in your industry. What's going to be going on. Amanda has, very high end decorative millwork, and what's happening in that industry, and what can we do in terms of a vision statement and that type of thing. So that's kind of where the vision takes us. And then again, I tried to give you effective characteristics in terms of how you would word your vision statements. They can be graphical, directional, very focused, flexible, feasible, desirable, easy to communicate. I love those kind of words. Is explainable. At the very easy, it says it's explainable in 5 to 10 minutes and ideally can be reduced to a simple, memorable slogan. Most of those vision statements I'm going to call you or show you have a lot behind them. And again, most of those, you can go on their website and see how they connect that vision. But it's a simple, memorable slogan. But you need some time sometimes to explain it. That can be 5 to 10 minutes or whatever. It's feasible. We say it's a lofty vision, but it should be something that's feasible. And it could be reasonably expected to be achieved at some point. But this is why I feel like the vision statement may be less changeable than potentially the mission, because it is a little further out there. But right now, in my mind, in most of our businesses as small businesses, if you go out past 2 years, your whole world could change. I mean, that's why we do 90-day plans, because so much changes just within 90 days. But this kind of gives you, if it's graphic, sometimes people will tie their entire logo to their vision. So again, many people have their vision and mission statement, and then they create a logo around that. You'll see at the end when I did mine, I kind of connected all of them together. So your logo, your graphic representation of your business can be an important piece to how it all connects to the mission, vision, and values. So again, I think this is something that we so often don't have time to really focus on. We don't take the time to do it. And I'm just stressing for small business, I think it's one of the most important things we can do. So here are some shortcomings that I think happen with the vision. It's way too broad. It's kind of vague. It's not incomplete. It's not forward-looking. It's kind of just bland. It's not distinctive. All of the statements I gave you, both for the mission and for the vision, are very short and I think really connected statements. So again, too reliant on the superlatives. Don't make this buzzword bingo. Make this connected to your heart and your soul for the business. And again, I like this in terms of what happens. And this, I think, happens more with vision statements than it does with mission statements. Mission statements, I think what happens is everyone tries to put everything but everything, including the kitchen sink, into a mission statement. And that's why sometimes it gets too wordy, because it is a little broader and you're trying to include the customer. Vision statement should be short and really give you that focus that you want. And then why a sound and communicated strategic vision matters. It crystallizes the business owner and senior manager's views, and it really drives decision-making. It really, if anything, to me, a vision really helps with the decision-making of the whole business. It should help with winning the support of employees, and I told you about those new millennials out there. They really want to be connected to a business, and they want to buy into a business's philosophy. They want to buy into the way the business operates. So their vision and mission is very important to them. It's a beacon for lower level managers and how they're going to guide their department. It prepares you for the future. But most importantly, I still think the most important thing around a well-developed mission and vision is it provides great communication. It should be the basis and the foundation of any communication you do publicly, especially. So it connects you to the marketplace. So I think, many of you have already shared some of your vision statements. I don't want to put you on the spot. But, I think that what I'm going to do is here are some others that I think are important. And by the way, I gave you IKEA's mission statement, which was more related to their products and all this. Here, they're saying to create a better everyday life for the many people. So I think that's like really, really a kind of a different way of looking. When you look at their vision and then you look at their mission, the vision to me is much more lofty. As they don't mention, if I said to create a better everyday life for the many people and you didn't know what IKEA was, it would be hard for you to say, what did they do? If you read their mission statement, it clearly states what they do. So I thought theirs was a really good example of the difference between a vision and a mission. I think some of these are very good. I think they're good vision statements. Coldstream Creamery, it's a franchise, but the ultimate ice cream experience. They just want you to have the ultimate. Okay? And then I picked Ben and Jerry's ice cream. I guess ice cream is on my mind here. And I don't do sugar anymore, so it's tough. But Ben and Jerry's has always marched, as I say, to their own drummer. And they've done things a little differently, although I think a lot of people have gotten behind them. And this is their mission, is drives us to make fantastic ice cream for its own sake. They want to manage the company for sustainable financial growth. And so they broke it into a product, an economic, and a social mission. And they are, as you know, a very socially conscious company. And I just wanted to kind of throw that up there to show how they broke it out. And they lead everything with their mission, but they try to include, because it's product, economic, and social, they're actually stating what their values are. So I wanted to kind of lead with that one. And so in conclusion, we have one more poll. We're going to pull this up. How many of you will revise, tweak, or create at least one of the three statements we just discussed in our webinar? So the poll's open, and if you can check this off, this is kind of a little unfair, but I did give you a maybe. So, okay, I think we can close. We're still collecting responses. Okay, I think we're going to close this. Okay, so 73% of you said yes, and 22% of you said maybe. And thank you for those of you that said maybe, because we all know that we spend an hour going to a seminar or doing a webinar, and then, you leave and boom, within 5 minutes, you're back into your day-to-day. So I'm just challenging you to at least download some of the downloads we're going to give you. You will get a link in an email after this, and at least think about it. And I wanted to leave, and I am by no means saying that my vision or mission or anything, but I do feel like I have to be congruent, is fabulous, and I'm going to sit back and tweak this. But my vision is you and your business at the pinnacle of success. So that is that every client I work with, I want them to feel successful. I want their business to be at the pinnacle of success. And to make that happen for everyone is a very lofty goal. My mission is we provide a unique blend of business coaching and consulting that helps you build your business for sustained growth and gets the results you want. And again, I'm focused strictly on my client. And my value is we've got to keep climbing. I feel that having worked in this business or with small businesses for 15 years, owning your own business is the single most difficult thing that I certainly have ever done. And it requires passion. It requires focus. The market changes all of the time. And so you just have to keep climbing. And that also involves, keep learning. And there's a whole lot of value behind that, keep climbing. So we're at the end. I appreciate your time. Thank you so much for being on the call. As soon as you get off of this, an immediate survey is going to pop up, and then you will also get an email with the link. So thank you very much, and have a superb day.